Hey guys, it's Jessie. So welcome back to my channel, and it's kind of late, but here's my October reading wrap up. The books I read in the month of October. And it's quite a few compared to my average of how many books I read a month. But yes, let's get right into it. So if you've been here long enough, you'll know that I average about like 3 books a month. But since this October, Spookathon was in October, and I participated in Spookathon. I started reading one of these books before Spookathon, but then I stopped reading it during Spookathon, and then I resumed reading it after Spookathon. And then, guys, guess what? I read my first audiobook at the ending of October. I know. Who am I? So the first book I read completed this month was the first book I read for Spookathon, and that was Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King. This book, I explained in the Spookathon vlog, I liked it more towards the ending of the book than the beginning, but it was my first ever Stephen King book I read, and it was okay. I can tell the writing is totally different, and it's like back in the ye old days where how they view things about women, how they describe things and stuff. It was weird, but as I kept reading, it grew on me, but not my favorite. It's been a while since I read it, so. The first scream came from the snowbound railway man who felt the fangs ripping at his throat. The next month there was a scream of ecstatic agony from a woman attacked in her snug bedroom. Now scenes of unbelieving horror come each time the full moon shines on the isolated Maine town of Tarker Mills. No one knows who will be attacked next, but one thing is sure. When the moon grows fat, a paralyzing fear sweeps through Tarker Mills, for snarls that sound like human words can be heard whining through the wind. And all around are the footprints of a monster whose hunger cannot be sated. Cycle of the Werewolf. So, the middle of the book, I kind of figured out who the werewolf was. It was obvious. I think it was, at least. But for my first Stephen King book, I feel like it was a good book to get started, I guess. Not the best. But the writing was good, dialogue was weird. Well, the writing and dialogue were good, it was just weird how this book was written out with the format and stuff, and I don't know, the grammar was kind of weird to me, but like I understood where it was coming from, but it just wasn't really a natural flow of a story. It was very like sentences, like it got out the purpose, but it's just like, okay. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend this book. If you're looking for a picture book that's creepy, spooky word in the title, I would probably suggest, even though it's a lot longer book than Cycle of the Werewolf, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. Yeah, I like that option a lot more than Cycle of the Werewolf, but it was good. And I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is another Stephen King book, which was for Spookathon, and that was Carrie by Stephen King. And I've never seen the original movie. I've seen the remake with Chloe Grace Moretz in it, and I never really knew like really what the story was until I saw the movie. But this book counted for thriller and set in a different time period for the Spookathon challenges, and I feel like everybody knows what Carrie is about, but just in case, Carrie knew she should not use the terrifying power she possessed. But one night at her senior prom, Carrie was scorned and humiliated just one too many times, and in a fit of uncontrollable fury, she turned her something game into a weapon of horror and destruction. So Carrie, her mom is a super religious freak, and Carrie didn't grow up right. she's basically like a hermit who doesn't like know anything besides what her mother taught her, and in the public school she gets bullied because she's a weird kid. But like I said about the first book of Stephen King I read, you can tell it's set in a different time period of when he wrote it, and of all the things with the gym teacher, like, that was a bit drastic, but I get it. But I really did like this book, but I read this book not as a physical book, I read it as a, not audio, but like an ebook, and it was weird. The format was weird. Like, I didn't know if some things were just like facts thrown into the story or if it was along with the story. So that was kind of weird for my first ebook reading, but it was, I found out the rhythm of the book. But I love Carrie's story a lot more than Psycho the Werewolf, and I do recommend Carrie by Stephen King. I kind of prefer the book's story more than the movie adaptation story of Carrie. Even though it's still good, I just prefer the original book story. And I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. And the next book I read, and the last book I read in Spookathon, was Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, and this book was interesting. It was the first adult fantasy book I've read. I know I cannot do this justice, so I'm just gonna read it again. Under the streets of London, there's a place most people could never even dream of. City of monsters and saints, murderers and angels, knights in armor and pale girls in black velvet. This is the city of the people who have fallen between the cracks. Richard Mayhew, a young businessman, is going to find out more than enough about this other London. A single act of kindness catapults him out of his workday existence and into a world that is at once eerily familiar and utterly bizarre. And a strange destiny awaits him down here, beneath his native city, Neverwhere. So I didn't really have any clue what I was going to get into this book, besides the vagueness of the description. But it reminded me of Stormfront by Jim Butcher. It's just weird. Like, a lot of things about this book bothered me. The main character, Richard, bothered me. He threw himself into things said from strangers that he just went along with. He didn't even, like, think about it. And, like, this man came out from an alley and was like, follow me. Oh, okay. Okay. He didn't even think for a second. And then when things started happening to him, that he was like, wait, hold up, I never asked for this. Poor me, why me? I'm like, really? You got yourself into this situation. Don't be complaining. He just kind of really got on my nerve and just annoyed me. I feel like other than that, I liked it. But it was just really bizarre, but I liked that also. And it also was not what I thought it was gonna be. More about knights and witches, like more in depth of it, but not just like fleeting. Like skimming past those subjects or like not, you know what I mean? I don't know if I know how to explain this well. The writing and the dialogue was good. The structure was good. It's just the one thing that really bothered me was the main character, Richard, because he never thought of what he was getting himself into. He just went with the flow, went with what strangers told him to do. I gave this book a 3.5 stars out of 5. So the next book I read in October is a book that I already uploaded and put out a non-spoiler book review with like a spin of a challenge on this non-spoiler book review, and it's City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. And this is the first middle grade book I love. I feel like this is the second middle grade book I've ever read, because the first one I read was Every Heart a Doorway. So this book is such a cute, fun read. It's about Cassidy Blake. Her parents are like the inspectors, which they're like this paranormal investigation team, but they don't really see ghosts. Her dad just is like the information of like the practicalness, and her mom is like the story spinner on the paranormal side of it. But Cassie can actually see the ghost because her best friend is a ghost. Jacob, he's a ghost. And her parents get this deal to make a show, and they head off to Edinburgh, Scotland for their first take in the show series. And where they lodge, there's this girl that lives there too, because she's part of the family there at the lodge, where it's her house. Well, it's her aunt's house, but Cassidy knows that there's something off about Laura, and she eventually finds out that she can also see the dead, like Cassidy, and that they can go into the veil. And she learns from Laura what she's actually meant to do with her gift. And then Cassidy has to stop the haunting of the sinister Red Raven from destroying the city, because she has something very important to Cassidy. And then there's this epic fight towards the end. Such a fun, adventurous read. And it kind of reminds me of like a middle grade version of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And I go into the depths of that in my non-spoiler book review about City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. But this book has such great writing. I love Victoria Schwab's writing in this book. I don't know if it's going to be different in her like young adult and then adult books, but I love her writing. It captures my attention. Great writing, great dialogue, great character development. Structure's amazing. It's just such a fun book, and I love it. I can't wait for the next book in the Cassidy Blake series. I love it, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. You make so much noise. You little kitty cat. You make so much noise. I'm trying to film. Okay, so the next book I read was the first audiobook I've ever read. My thoughts and opinions on this book, audiobook, like compared to what other people think, I'm like, did we read the same book? Because everybody's like praising this book on how amazing it is, but it's like such a dark read also, and I'm just like, it was okay. Like, I can see what they mean by dark, but it was not, it was okay to me. Like, it wasn't my favorite at all. And that is Sadie by Courtney Summers. Yeah. Unpopular opinion, I guess. But I feel like since I listened to this book on audiobook, I don't know, I feel like I should have physically read the book and physically like seen the words of the story, and maybe I would have like cared a little bit more about it. But since it was my first audiobook, I just wasn't really impressed with the story. First I thought it was an adult book, which also I was like, is it okay? But once I found out it's like a young adult book, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see it's dark for a young adult book, but still it didn't really impress me. But this book is about Sadie hasn't had the easiest life. Growing up on her own and raising her little sister like in a small town. Trying her best to provide this normal life and keep their head above the water. But when Maddie is found dead, Sadie's entire world crumbles. After a somewhat botched police investigation, Sadie is determined to bring her sister's killer to justice and hits the road following very mere clues to find him. When Wes McCrae, a radio personality working on small forgotten towns in America, hears about Sadie's story at a local gas station, he becomes obsessed with finding the missing girl. He starts his own podcast while tracking Sadie's journey, trying to figure out what happened and trying to find her before it's too late. I did like the aspect in the audiobook that it's from two different perspectives. It's from the radio podcast perspective when he's interviewing the different people in Sadie's life that she encountered along on her trip, and then it's Sadie's point of view. I don't know, I just wasn't impressed with the audio. No, okay, I was impressed. The audiobook was fun, because I liked how there's like an entire cast of people. But the story itself, to me, I just don't see what everybody's talking about, the hype of it, how it's like an amazing dark book. It's a dark book for a young adult book, of course, but I just didn't, to me it lacked something. Like, I just didn't feel a connection with the story that other people are talking about. It was good character development for Sadie, and just the ending of it, it's just like, why? Why are you leaving us on that ending? it built up and then I feel like it fizzled out. I just feel like the whole cast of characters in the audiobook really brought like a substance to the book that really stuck. I felt like it was a real thing I was listening to, but then I'm like, wait, this is an audiobook. So I really like that part about it. But unpopular opinion, wasn't that impressed with it, like how other people are talking about it. But I did give this book like a 3.5 to 4 stars out of 5. So that was my reading wrap up for October, and I'm so excited for November and December because of the things on my TBR that I want to get to reading, I'm excited about, and yeah. So let me know in the comments down below what y'all read in the month of October and how many books you read, and if they were amazing, what you thought, or if you read some similar books to what I read in October. Why is there a fuzzy in my face? Yeah. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe, you have more videos by me, and I'll see you guys later. Bye guys.